Hey, thank you.
Restaurant owner Charlie Sampson out for a food run. Business as usual during a pandemic.
Then it made us really innovators in the sense of like, restaurant, we can't sell food here, so how can we sell the most food out of our carry-out, to go? We jumped on delivery, all the other stuff that we could do, so.
All this just had to be after the shutdown this spring.
I think our businesses have been so adaptable. Every punch that's come along, they've rolled with it, figured out, but that's what entrepreneurs do, and that's what small business owners do. They figure out how they're going to get through the next hurdle.
Thank you.
Sampson's a Clawson native running what was the Montage Grill, renaming it Whiskey Taco Foxtrot.
When did you buy the place?
So we took it over March 7th, which was impeccable timing for starting a new business and rolling into a pandemic of sorts.
Charlie told us that, much to his surprise, the business has been really good since the shutdown ended.
Same with the others we've been talking to. Part of it is the outdoor seating. They're putting in as much as they can to offset the 50% seating capacity limitation. What do you think about dining al fresco, Chris?
I really like it. It feels like a much safer alternative to eating inside right now, and it gives these restaurants a chance to bring people back. Whether it's new places like Whiskey Taco Foxtrot that are trying sort of a new spin on their cuisine. I tried the blackened tilapia taco and it was great. Or whether it's old school classics like Tavern on the Main that's been a mainstay of downtown Clawson forever, serving just a really great classic burger. What's it been like during these last few months dealing with the pandemic?
It was a little difficult. We were open for carry-out curbside service, but you know what? They're so loyal to us. They wanted to keep us in business, and yes, we would get a lot of the repeating customers coming here, once, twice, maybe even 3 times a week to order carry-out curbside service just to keep us going.
Then there's White Wolf on 14 Mile. The Japanese French-style patisserie opened in January. With the shutdown, Doran Brooks wasn't just selling pastries curbside, he offered baking flour and chickens. Hard to get items at the time, working through the crisis the best he could.
What we did here at White Wolf was say, okay, now that we're slowed way down, it gives us a chance to look at what was working, what wasn't working, what the guests really liked, what they didn't like, and we could make all those adjustments during that period.
White Wolf's connected to Noble Fish, the Japanese food store and sushi bar, but Brooks was looking at another market, high-end cocktails. Have them here or to go.
People can come in and get their drinks, and as long as they don't open the beverage until they get home, they can take it to go.
Back on Main Street, there's Kave, specializing in Turkish coffee. Been here for 6 years. With the pandemic, owner Anna Bureau reduced staff and shortened hours of operation, but working more hours herself.
So far, it's been very good as long as we keep it this way. And in my mind, we're going through the worst of the pandemic. If it doesn't get worse, we should make it okay.
Brenna Hauk, editor for Eater Detroit, estimates restaurants running at maybe 30 to 60% across the region because of the pandemic, but there's a glimmer of a bright side to this in places like Clawson.
One of the interesting and maybe nice things about dining right now during COVID is that it has become much more of a neighborhood-focused dining experience. People are more comfortable staying closer to home than they once were.
Staying and working from home, it stands to reason. If you're not working downtown, you're not eating so much down there either.
What do you call it, the street party or? The open air street fair.
Open air street?
Mid-August, something to shake off the COVID malaise, organized by Clawson's Downtown Development Authority. Mary Liz Curtin owns the Leon and Lulu store and Three Cats restaurant.
And it is the first time I've ever hired a performer and said, don't draw a crowd. If you get too many people around you, shoo them away, run on your long, long legs, but make them all happy from a distance.
So we looked at what could we do, and with the COVID restrictions, how do we keep people moving? And so this is one time where our spread out downtown worked for us.
It's a chance just to go out and smile and have a good time. I don't know if we can do our big Halloween event this year, but we can do this little funny one. It's very small, very low key, in a tall way.
The street fair provided a look inside Clawson's newest restaurant, Puma Chug, at the prime corner of 14 and Main. By late August, owners Andrea and Tyler Williams held a soft opening.
Back in the 1800s, the corner that we're on now was a sawmill. Down the street across the other corner, there was a cider mill as well. As people were coming through the town to go to work in Detroit, the noise of the mills made a, quote, Pumachug, Pumachug, Pumachug sound. So this area was nicknamed Pumachug and the Corners.
The Williamses are new to the restaurant business, but they did market research, a citywide survey of what residents want.
It sounds silly to talk about, but when we first came up with this idea, it was a Friday night where we switched from I hope somebody does something cool with this corner to let's do it. Yeah. We came up with this probably stupid idea. We watched all of the Restaurant Impossibles and we just
Bar Rescue
binge watched all of those, trying to scare ourselves away from making kind of a stupid decision. Who wants to open a restaurant, right?
But it didn't work.
No, we made it through the weekend and all the horror stories you see there, and we're like, we think we can do this.
That was 9 months ago. This past week, you couldn't get in without a reservation.
Opening a restaurant's like having a baby. When it's time to open it, you open it. It doesn't matter if there's a pandemic. It doesn't matter if there's a recession. Once you put all that time in, it's got to come out. So we wish them the best. It's delightful inside, and they're so smart and they're charming. We think it's going to be good.
Puma Chug's biggest challenge now, finding more cooks. They have to close on Mondays to give their chef a break.
I think you can probably look at almost every restaurant now and find that they're all asking for help.
Some of the shortage might be people sitting this out, collecting unemployment. Then there's still the fear of catching the virus. It really is a cost-benefit problem.
The reality is that restaurant workers who are going back now, they're just not making the same money that they were before. They're serving fewer customers because of the lowered capacity. If they're a tipped employee, they're not making as much in tips as they used to.
Talking to Eater Detroit's Brenna Howe, she sees even more lost with the pandemic. Wearing those masks removes a lot of the personal connections servers have with their guests. So she says people tend to tip less.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's the case here in Clawson, but these restaurants have an even more pressing concern right now with the weather. Puma Chug really expanded their patio space to get as much outdoor dining as possible, but with fall rapidly approaching, who knows how long that'll last.
Right, and can you really enjoy your veggie burger and truffle fries out there if the gales of November come early? And there's a whole lot of other restaurants in that same boat.
We have one of the largest patios in the area, so that's what's saving us right now because we have to go 50%.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen come winter. I mean, we'll get heaters and try to keep it as warm as possible and push it through November. Mm-hmm. But it's not enclosed because when we talked about enclosing the patio, the clientele and the customers were like, no, don't do that. We like the fresh air and stuff.
We get to a spot where it's, we got to take that risk. We have to try to normalize a little bit of what the situation is, and we have to move forward.
The smell of this?
Yeah.
So good, even with the mask on.
And I think there's going to be those people that want to do it and those people that are hungry enough to do it. And I encourage them to come out and know that there's a good network of restaurant owners and chefs down here that are like, hey, we're here to see you succeed, because the more success you have, the more success we'll have.
This is such a cliche, but I do believe we will be stronger than we were before because people are learning to appreciate now what we have. People are learning to appreciate the family-owned businesses too. And because they know we struggle just as much as they do.